If you have good guys, you don't want to lose them because I'm only as good as my team. I mean, I can bring in the jobs, I can create the opportunities, but I know what to look for to see if it looks right, but I don't want to be out there physically doing the work all day,
Right.
every day. So I'm really only as good as my team.
Shortage, surplus, getting easier. What's your read on construction labor these days?
It's competitive with the guys, but a lot of the labor, they need work. So it kind of goes both ways. You can negotiate the pricing more because they need the work, but it's most of your trades, most of your labor, if you're experienced in the industry, these are guys that you've known and been working with for years. Most of my trades and labor, I've been working with 10 plus years. So they're the first guys that I call. They call me if they, hey, do you have anything else? Do you know anybody that has anything? So right now, a lot of the labor, they are reaching out. I probably get calls daily. If I'm not utilizing the guys, do you have anyone else that can utilize us for labor?
So this is why I brought this up first, because obviously a couple years ago, it was hard to get people to answer the phone, much less show up on the job.
Right.
And I mean, that was back in the day where roofing crews would leave halfway through the day and just get up and go to another job.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that in my flipping business recently, I'm getting more calls from people looking for work. And when I need something done, it feels easier to get someone there.
Right.
So I'm just a one-trick pony, kind of, ish. So I was just curious what a big company was feeling.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, labor, when they're your guys that you've been working with for many years, they're going to call and reach out because they need the work. And then another trick to the labor in the industry is everybody wants to work up front because that's the big part of the paychecks. It's that last 5% in construction that kicks your, I don't know if I can say that, but where they don't want to, they could care less if they come back for that last 5%, and they want to go get the first in money from a new job. So that's where usually labor kicks our butt on the construction or renovation side is, if they come in, everybody's gung-ho ready to get the job because that's where the big money comes in at the front, but then that last 5% they don't want to come back to do. So again, having the experience is withholding enough so they'll come back and complete it. So that's always a trick.
So I'm glad you brought up labor because I know, not me personally, but I've had friends in the business before where they would intentionally have projects that were maybe not full-on loss leaders, but were break-even type projects just to keep their crews engaged. Going with what you were saying, that tracks with years past. Is that still a thing now if there is a flood of labor that needs the job? So it seems like if I'm hearing that, you don't necessarily need to take loss leader jobs because there's always a labor.
There is always labor, but of course you have your select labor. I mean, you want the guys that are going to show up when they need to, whether it's a Saturday or a Sunday, if things just need to get done, that you trust, that are going to do what they say they're going to do. It just really depends on your guys, and you don't want, if you have good guys, you don't want to lose them because I'm only as good as my team. I mean, I can bring in the jobs, I can create the opportunities, but I know what to look for to see if it looks right, but I don't want to be out there physically doing the work all day, every day. So I'm really only as good as my team, and I'll do anything to try to keep these guys busy, or even if it is some instances where I am just breaking even so I can keep my guys available and with me
so that's
for
still
my
a
future
thing
it is
for select key players.
Yeah, it still is a thing for key players. Yes.
So I bring that up first because I don't think it's getting enough publicity. The jobs reports are getting a little worse, kind of, month by month. And construction labor, it's reported on like multifamily projects and commercial projects, but a lot of the boots on the ground labor in our single family housing industry doesn't really get reported on the job reports. But I'm always trying to, after 20 something years in the business, and we try to be no fluff around here. Like, obviously you're in the construction business, and so we'll talk about your business, but we try to talk about like what the real thing is on the street. And I am starting to feel some recessionary undertones in the labor market, in the job market, and just frankly in the way people are willing to spend, and like they're Instead of, oh yeah, courts and the best light fixtures and all that, it's kind of like, do we need to do that? So that's why I ask. Obviously, if you're doing a lot of projects, you got a good pulse. And the key thing she said though is now people are starting to call for work versus you're having to track them down.
And is that when you say recessionary trends? Is that what we're referring to? Is the trend that now you have an influx of labor that need work?
Well, no,
and there's no work out there.
There's less work. There's becoming less and less available work, and people are kind of drowning in their auto payments and credit card payments, and they need work. And there was a period there after that last election where people didn't need work, and people didn't really want work, and if they were going to show up, I mean, day labor skyrocketed to where you're paying close to $300 a day, up from $100 a day in 2019. Like, I mean, it was just astronomical increase. And I'm starting to hear and feel that coming down a little bit. You just hope that we find balance and don't go all the way to where there's people in line for food stamps.
Right.
Environment.
Right.